Now let me just say this. To me, Mr. Shadow has always been a dope artist. It's one of the artists that I physically went, bought CDs. Those times when they were selling CDs in the, at the stores, right? Always been a good artist in my opinion. And if I ever had a chance to mess with a certain artist, he would be one of the artists that I would love for him to be like one of my tracks. This video I came around, and I was like, well, let me do a little reaction to this. Being the fact, like I'm saying, about many of his albums, and a lot of people that feature him, I heard the music too. Because I always thought he's a dope artist. For those of you that never heard of Mr. Shadow, feel free to look him up. You know what I mean? One of Chicano's pioneers, right there. Much respect. But check this out from what he had to say.
I don't need his fucking clout. I'm Shadow, he's Rob. He went radio and mainstream. I stayed underground. It's not about clout chasing. It's not about trying to ride his coattail or none of that shit. I'm trying to give people what they've been asking for many, many fucking years. He needs to just stop avoiding the fact that we need to just get in the lab and make some crazy shit, bro. It could be one song, bro. And he can keep the publishing, keep everything. I just want to do that song for the people, bro. Like I don't care to make any money off of it. At the end of the day, I have nothing against dude. He seems to have an issue with me, but when he sees me, we shake hands, we hug it up and take a picture. But then he goes quiet on me, bro. Me and that dude were like brothers.
Wow.
And it all went to shit or whatever. It can't just be water under the bridge. He's holding a grudge that's like fucking 30 years old, bro. Like,
damn.
Come on, man.
That's crazy.
Like I know he's a bigger man than that. You know what I'm saying? And
so you just heard what Mr. Shadow had to say about his beef, what he had with Lil Rob, or that he still has with Lil Rob, according to him, because Lil Rob is keeping a certain grudge towards him. For those of you that don't know, at least from my understanding, is that Mr. Shadow got involved with Lil Rob's girlfriend way back in the day. At least that was a rumor. At least that was put out on records, and you know what I mean? Like I'm saying, since I've been a listener when it came around Raza Rap, especially with Mr. Shadow, there was a few tracks. Of course, he dissed Rob, even with the little one, making fun of him and all this sort of things. So at the end of the day, I could understand him of at least Mr. Shadow's end of not wanting beef, wanting to somehow call it cool, and hopefully do music together once again, or at least one song according to him, right? Now, in my mind, it's cool that Mr. Shadow wants to look past it and want to do something, especially the way he wants to do it. Of course, I'll bring him more attention, more of an audience, right? I mean, there's stuff behind it too that I could understand. But if he really wants to call it truce with Lil Rob, and Lil Rob doesn't want to, I mean, coming from, I guess, from that sort of era and that sort of time frame, especially when this homie's saying that he was like brothers with Lil Rob, and then if you do something like that, let alone diss him on records, make fun of him on records, it's like if that were to be done to me, I would never want to speak to you again. He could say that they're cool here and there if they ever run into each other, but as far as messing with each other, gonna want to deal with each other, that's never gonna happen. And you know what I mean? The other guy doesn't even want to be cool or even want to end the sort of a grudge that he may have against him. I would be the same way, man. Because if that something were to went down, you know what I mean, getting the girl, let alone diss me on the record, and all that sort of thing, and still being out there, I can never be cool with the sort of person like that. You know what I mean? I'll pay no attention to it. I ain't gonna give it no energy, not even, especially after many years. It's like, for what? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I'm saying, I could understand what he wants to do. What do you guys think about that? I mean, it would be dope to hear them do a track together. Of course, it would be dope if they could end their beef, so to say, too, as well. But I could understand Lil Rob's too, because I even recall him saying on the interview, hey, you messed me once, that's all it takes, And that's the way, like I'm saying, I kind of am, because I never would do you wrong. I'm never going to try to do somebody who I see as a brother or as a sister wrong, because it's like, why am I going to do you wrong? And then if I call it truce, you might do it again. Or God knows what else you'll do, being the fact that I call it cool, and then you'll probably see me as being weak. So my question is, would you guys, if you guys were in Lil Rob position, would you call it truce? Would you end that sort of beef? Would you make a track again? Especially how he says, hey, you keep the public, I don't want the money, I don't need all that. But at the end of the day, hey, that'll still give him some clout. And I don't hate on that. You know what I mean? Do what you could do, but at the end of the day, I know it'll be a dope track. But would you guys end the beef? Especially if a person, someone that called yourself their brother, then did you wrong a certain way, diss you on records, made fun of you on records, let me know. What would you do?